Welcome back to the Brutally Honest podcast, and we're going to talk about how I'm literally living in my dream place. I live in a one-bedroom apartment that's a little bit bigger than the average one-bedroom apartment, and it's like my dream. I love living here. Like, I just look around almost every day thinking about how grateful I am to have this one-bedroom apartment to myself. And the reason is because I've been through it with living experiences, such as with roommates or places that aren't as nice. So when you've been through it living with roommates and just not in the most ideal living situation, finally having a living situation that is ideal is so nice. It's like the best feeling ever. The reason I'm talking about this is because I was thinking about how when we get older and we move out, a lot of people run into living situation issues where they have roommate issues or just aren't enjoying their environment. It's because we're all young and we're just trying to get by, so we all need like roommates, or we're not going to get the nicest apartment, or we're in college living situations like college dorms, and it's just not good. It's just not good. Like, I remember living in a dorm that was horrible, and there was like mold and there was like noise. And then I moved to a 2-bedroom apartment with a roommate, and I just had such a hard time with a roommate. Like, I'm just not a roommate person. And I know a lot of my friends have similar stories. Like, I feel like anyone in their 20s has some type of story about living like out of their house that they moved out, like once they moved out with their parents and like living on their own and just not enjoying the environment because of roommates or something like that. And the interesting thing about the environment that you live in is it's really hard to get a good one that is just so ideal for you. Like, you just feel so comfortable in it, and there's no issues. There's no noise complaint issues. It's not a crappy apartment. You have like a good maintenance team. You have a good roommate or don't have a roommate. Like, it's just so rare to find like a perfect environment in your 20s. And I finally have found that after living in college dorms, living with a roommate, living in a tiny little studio. I now have a 1-bedroom apartment that's just a little bit bigger, and it's in a decent apartment complex with not horrible apartment staff. And that's literally all I freaking need. Like, I realize, like, all I need is just this 1-bedroom apartment. I don't need a mansion. I don't need any other living situation. Like, this one is the most perfect thing because I know really successful rich people living in giant mansions who still have bad living conditions. Like, having a bad environment you live in is something that everyone's going to experience once in their life at least. And it's something literally that everyone experiences, no matter if you're rich, poor, you live with 10 roommates, one roommate. I feel like anyone like in their 20s has experienced something with living conditions. I'm saying this because I know a group of friends who were loaded. Like, everyone in that group was super rich, and they all lived together in like Beverly Hills at this really nice house, and they still ran into issues. Like, I've seen so many well-off people running into the same issues that college students run into when it comes to living space and environment, because well-off people still like to get roommates. So a lot of the times they'll like have roommate issues too. Like, I've seen that with so many rich people who have giant mansions. The only difference with well-off people is while they still like to get roommates like normal college kids, they get mansions. But mansions cause more issues because then they have wealthy friends that they're roommates with, and like they want parties and the other person doesn't want parties, and whatever the case is. So there's just always going to be something. And that's why I'm just so grateful for my simple 1-bedroom apartment. I decorated it how I liked it. I have a space to myself. Like, guys, the experience of just having your own private space to yourself that you decorate, that has all of your heart and soul into it, is just such a satisfying feeling. Like, a place that I'm not living at with my parents, I'm not sharing with a roommate, a place that I chose Like, I chose this apartment, and I choose every single decoration that I want in this apartment, and I choose my routine I want to live in this apartment. Like, it's just this sense of freedom that you get. Like, I don't understand why I hear so many situations of people in bad roommate situations, and they'll always have excuses for why they can't get out. The most understandable excuse is money, like if that is your excuse. But a lot of times people get in environment situations and they just get stuck. Like, they know it's not the best environment for them, but they don't want to change and they don't want to do anything about it. I've seen this with so many people. People who still lived with their parents for the longest time and didn't want to move out. People who had roommates that they were friends with but did not like living with them. People in college living situations. Like, a lot of these people in their 20s will just be stuck in this living situation that they don't like. And they're not doing every single thing in their power to get out. Instead, all they do is just complain to you about their roommate or complain to you about the living situation. And you'll tell them, you'll be like, we'll move out. And then they'll have a million different excuses for why they can't move out. I was people too. But then I just got to the point where I was like, no, I cannot do roommate lifestyle. And I literally had no money, but I moved out and I got a studio apartment that was really, really expensive. And I made it by. I made it work. Like, when you hate a living situation so much, I feel if you just force yourself to move out, even though if you have a million excuses telling you you can't move out or why you can't move out, force yourself to move out even with those excuses, because you'll make it work. Because I remember when I got the first sense of living on my own, and I loved it so much. Just living in my little 400 square foot studio apartment made me feel this intense sense of relief. Like, when we're in these environments that we don't like with crappy roommates or whatever the situation is, we're so comfortable and used to the environment. So when I moved out of that environment and I lived on my own, I was like, realizing that I was holding myself back from so many things by staying in that environment, but it's so easy to get comfortable and just stuck in an environment that isn't the best for us, and we don't even realize it. And like, a lot of times I'll have friends who are in living situations they don't like, and they complain to me, and I'm like, move out, and then they tell me the excuses, and I'm seeing all the reasons why they should move out and how not living in that environment is so much better for them, but I notice they don't see that. They just want to complain about the situation. And so I've had 2 years of living on my own, starting from a little studio apartment to a nice 1-bedroom apartment. And since then, I've improved on how to live on my own. Now, I have made this place feel like such a home. I put my heart and soul into every decoration in this apartment, because I want a place that feels stable. I want a place that I know I can always go back to. That is my comfort zone. And when we're in our 20s, we're moving around to all these places. We don't have enough money to buy a house. We don't have a stable house that we bought. So I want this to feel like my stable home. Because renting is interesting. Since I'm renting and I don't own this place, there is a little bit of a feeling of like, it's not mine, or, oh, I can't break this, or it's not a staple place. But I have created this apartment to be my home, and it has just such a good energy in here. That's another thing, is spaces hold energy. And I've been in places, like in people's environments, that are really nice, but the energy is not good in there because they have issues going on with their roommate, and everyone can feel it in the house. Everyone can feel tension. Like, if you have issues with your roommate and you bring friends to your apartment, we can all feel it in the house. I don't know why it's a thing, but it's a thing. And I've been in environments where I can feel the tension between the roommates in the environment. So that's like one thing, is like the people in your house, they hold the space. Another thing is how clean you keep the space. Like, people can feel that. Like, if you don't keep your place clean, like, you come in and it just has an energy. So I've really learned the art of making this energy in my apartment pure. I keep it really clean, I decorate it, and I just love it. Like, I'm so grateful for my space, and I appreciate what I have. Like, I have just a simple 1 bedroom apartment. But I'm so freaking grateful for it because I just love the feeling of having my own space. And I know this is a rare opportunity. I know a lot of people don't have a situation like this. So I just really hold on to my gratitude for this apartment. And like, I like to feel into what this freedom feels like when I'm here, like what it really feels like to live on your own with no roommates and in an environment you have full control over. Like, I just always keep reminding myself, like, wow, like I have so much freedom here. I can do my routine. I can live so comfortably. And I just love to sit in that feeling and just keep remembering it, because it really was hard with roommates. And it's easy like to get comfortable and live on your own and finally get out of that situation and not realize where you came from. But that's why I just like love gratitude with like living situations when you have it good, because I finally have this like nice environment and I really, really appreciate it. But then there's moments where I'm like, oh, I could move to LA, or like I keep wanting to change, because like it's easy to get comfortable in something that you really appreciate, and then like the appreciation goes away and then like want something different. But I have to just recognize like what I have now. And like I was thinking, oh, I could move to LA or whatever and like get an apartment there. But what keeps keeping me here is I love this space, and it took so long to get a place like this. It took so long to build up my comfort zone and my home in this apartment. And like imagine if I go to LA, because I'm like obsessed with the idea, but then it's so freaking expensive there and I have to get like a dank ass apartment, and I'm like, oh my God, like, and I'm thinking back to this place I had and I'm like, wow, I didn't appreciate it. Like I was just so obsessed with something new, something more. So that's why I'm like, I like just simple lifestyle. I like a simple 1 bedroom apartment. I don't want any more. I don't want a mansion or anything else, because this is just perfect. I know this environment so well. I know that I don't hear my neighbors. There's no crazy parties. I know how to keep this place clean. I know I live on my own. I know the ins and outs of this complex. I'm so comfortable here. I'm so in my comfort zone here. So to change that and to move somewhere else, it has to be for a really, really, really good reason. Because it took me so long to build this comfort zone up here through bad roommates and bad living environments. And I can't forget that, because we forget that sometimes when we're finally in a good place. We forget what it took to get there. And that's when we will ruin things for us, is when we don't appreciate it and we move on or want something more or want something bigger or want something better without realizing what we just created right now. So that was my episode. Thanks for watching.